Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me. And I want to say that I will be glad to come as long as you guys want, as long as you attend. Okay? And my main objective here is to give you an idea about some of the rules, but some of you are familiar with, some are not, and also to answer questions. I know you have quite a few questions, and the last time when I gave a presentation, I was given several questions before the presentation. Some of them were useful because they had a general benefit, but some were in the if someone tells me my GPA is so and so and I need to do this, then I don't have to do a presentation about that. So what I decided is to go over general themes, as I said, important points, and if I miss something or there are aspects that you are not familiar with or you want more clarification, please feel free to ask. So I'll start first with changes. By the way, before I start, everyone hears me? In the back?
Come here, we can have the people.
Okay, so there are quite a few changes in regulations. They come either from Azaiez or they come from the department. So I'm not going to go over all of them. I will go over the important ones, particularly the one regarding admission. Most of you here, I think you were admitted in the old system, all of you, but most, where if you apply for PhD, you start first as a master, and then after completing the master requirements in terms of courses, you transfer to PhD. Starting actually last fall, we started admitting directly to PhD. So students who meet the requirements and who apply to PhD, they can start directly. So this is a new change. Of course, it won't affect you, but some people sometimes inquire about this. They want to know about the change in the rule. Now, for the transfer, let me talk about a little bit about that because also I keep receiving questions from students. To transfer, you have to complete 4 courses. Essentially, you need to complete the master requirement, course requirement, which means 4 courses. At least one of them has to be the required course, 701 or 73, and at least one of them has to be a core course. I think most of you are familiar with that. You have to complete these. Your GPA has to be about 3.5. You have to do this within a 2 years period from the time you have started. If you exceed that 2 years, then you have to finish master. And you have, of course, the consent of your supervisor. If the supervisor says yes, no, then whatever you do. Okay? So these are the requirements for transfer to PhD. Now, once you transfer to PhD, I'm also going to go over this. Depending on the courses that you have taken. Is this going to be, do you think it is going to be useful? It's like when I teach classes, you don't see the reaction. So I assume it is. Okay, for transferring, if when you did your master, you took the 2 required and the 2 core. Once you transfer to PhD, you are done with your course. You don't need to take any more courses. Okay? On the other hand, if during your master, you took only 1 required and 1 core, which are the minimum requirements. You didn't take 2 required. Say you took 701 but not 703. Okay? Then when you transfer to PhD, you have to take that 703. So it is basically your decision and your supervisor which courses you choose. You can complete everything by 4 courses during the master, or you can complete 4 in the master and 4 in the PhD. Is that clear? If you have questions, please ask me. It's relatively simple, but still, people keep asking, should I take more courses? Am I done? I think the rules are very simple. If you complete your 2 required, your 2 core, you're done. You don't need to worry anymore about additional courses. You can take if you want, but you don't have to. Okay? So, as I said, in the new system, we are admitting directly to the PhD students, typically students with MSc, and also possibly students with a bachelor. But if they are outstanding, the word there outstanding, it means really you are in the top. This, by the way, we are not really making anything new. Other departments and the university has been following and actually this. So we are just aligning ourselves again with that. And changes in the grades. In the old, I think, less than a year ago, FGS had changed the rules in terms of what is a good standing and not a good standing. In the past, if you get a B minus more, you may be required to return. I think all of you should know that, or should have known that, because because most of you should have been in the old system. Now they have changed the rule. B minus by itself is not a problem. It's not a failing grade. At the graduate level, of course, a problem. Okay? C plus and below, on the other hand, is a failing grade. So in the new system, which applies to all of you now, even if you start with the old system, if you get a B minus and your GPA is about 3.0 over an academic year period, you are fine. And that course counts. On the other hand, if you get a C plus or below, then you may be required. Or if your GPA falls below 3. Okay, any question about this? This is kind of recent, and this is not the department. This is Faculty of Graduate Studies regulation. This one, the 607, is the department, and this has been approved. I think an email was sent, and it is noted also in the list of courses, and it is in the calendar. All thesis-based students, sorry, not thesis-based, all MSc and PhD cannot take 607 for credit towards their degree. So if you are an MSc student or a PhD student, you want to take 607, you can, but it will not count towards your degree requirement. If you have questions, ask me, don't be shy. Yes, okay. Yes.
607 course.
What's it?
What is this 607 course?
Yeah, 607 is natural gas processing principles. It's why we made this decision. Actually, our basic chemical engineers, it's basic chemical engineering. Actually, our undergrad students should know that material. So for us, it's not really a graduate level, in terms of the knowledge, graduate level course. Most of the people who take it actually are people who are working downtown. So we felt that it's not the top at the level of a master PhD. Master PhD should take more advanced course. There is a continuation of the same course called 609. That one, you can take it for free. Yes. Yeah.
When does this take effect? Because some people already took this course.
What's it?
When does this take effect? Because some people already took the course before this change happened.
Oh, if you have taken before, it is fine. Yeah. Don't, again, whenever there is a rule, of course, it's not retroactive. It doesn't make sense. It's from the start. So actually, it started in spring. So actually, it was offered in spring, summer. So if you took it, normally you shouldn't have, but if you have taken it spring, summer, or this fall or winter, then it won't count. Those who took it before, they are fine. Okay, any other question about this change? And the last change, which I think is important, because also sometimes people come and ask me this, are these last two changes that FGS. First, FGS has been allowing actually for more than a year, manuscript-based thesis. So it means you can have your thesis as a collection of manuscripts that you have either submitted or they have been accepted. Okay, they are accepted. For FGS, there are rules. You can go on the guidelines for thesis. For FGS, it tells you how you should put them, because you cannot just throw a paper. You have to explain maybe an introduction. If you have multiple authors, you have to say what is your contribution, etc. But your thesis can be a collection of manuscripts or papers that have been accepted. Yes?
What about the paper that we submitted like for presentation in certain conference or something? Is it
No, it is fine.
included?
As I said, yeah, it is fine. As long as you judge, they have the value to be as part or chapter of your thesis. As I said, they can be manuscripts that have been submitted or accepted. So even if they are not accepted, you are even, it's fine. Okay? But you have to mention, if it is published, you put at the bottom whatever journal number. If it is not, it is submitted, whatever it is. Now, I will have to tell you, not all professors are happy about this. I am happy, actually. But some professors, they said this, no, I won't, this is not something that I like. So be aware that maybe your supervisor can tell you no, even though it is allowed, so it's between you and your supervisor. And worse than that, some professors say, I won't even go to attend an exam if it is based on it. Some of them are really against it, with no negotiation. But some, I personally, I think it's a really good idea because it motivates you more to write manuscripts, to prepare, to publish. And that's the whole thing. I think part of it, your experience as a researcher is that. So it is there. You have to consult with your supervisor and make sure that your committee members are all happy with that. You don't want one of the committee on the day of the exam to come. I don't like this. So, okay. The other change is the electronic submission. Now, which is about time, but the university moving towards electronic submission in terms of application, but also in terms of submitting your thesis. So probably most of you, when you are going to be done with your thesis, you are going to have to be able to submit it electronically. There is no more than hard copies and all these problems. So that's also another change in the electronic application. Okay, any questions? Thesis candidacy exam. Actually, these are not new regulations. This is just clarification for you. I talked already about the transfer when I started talking about the admission, and you can be admitted as a master's transfer to PhD. Now there is this background knowledge credit. It applies mostly, not exclusively, to the PUT students. I don't know how many are left of the PUT students, but so, for example, you came here before you took, say, secondary and tertiary cover, 629. Completed your MH or MSc, what you call it, and then you start your master transfer into PhD. Then you want to get credit for that course. You will get credit not for the number of courses, you will get credit for the background, which means, so that I explained it to you. First, to get credit, you have to request it. It's not automatic. Okay, so please do it, because on the day I'm going to approve your exam work, and this is, God, he didn't take long, and then you'll have to go and look at your file. Oh, he took one, but did he request? No. Okay, call him, ask him to request. It will delay everything. So make sure, if you think you are eligible and you want to do it, request it. It's not a big deal, especially if it is for you even on the course. If it is not if someone from outside, there is a whole process, because the decision of whether the course that for which you are requesting background is accepted or not, it's not me. By the way, I have to stress something. I was telling Aksha, I don't make rules. People think that Dr. Azaiez is making really the rules. Absolutely not. I tell you later. There is a whole committee, so I cannot do anything by myself. So in particular for this background credit, for example, if you ask for 629 and you took this course, say, at Texas A&M, so I go and ask Dr. Many, who is teaching 629, and tell him, look at the course description that you took at Texas A&M. Do you think it is equivalent or covers the essential material that you cover? If it says yes, fine. If it says no, then I tell you. So it's not my decision, actually. Most of the time, it's not my decision. In any case, if you think you are eligible or you can get credit, you request that. What does that mean? As a master, again, remember I told you how to take 4 courses. It doesn't reduce the number of courses. You still need 4. That people think that you would reduce it to 3. No, we still need 4. The only thing is now you don't have that restriction that you need to take a course because you have already knowledge of course. You can replace it by any other credit. Is that clear, or should I explain it? Okay, great. So once you do that, and of course you take your 601 seminar, you have to take it twice, you are clear for going to your 26. Now, very, very important that before you start setting up your CANC exam, make sure that your supervisory committee has been set. You know, I have met, the department actually I initiated, because when I started here, I was going to CANC exam and students were being asked questions all over the place. No, it's true. If you are good in rheology, let's say you be rheology and ask a question about rheology. No. So we try to basically put a frame for what the student should be tested on. Okay. And there is a document on the web page, on our web page, that you, as a student and your supervisor, have to fill. In particular, you have to set your supervisory committee. Okay? As a PhD. Everyone I hope is aware of it. The supervisory committee has to approve your proposal. Why, you may tell me? Because on the day of the exam, you don't want one of your supervisory committee saying, what is this? That would be really very, very bad news for you. You won't have your supervisory committee on your side. Very important to get your supervisory committee approving. Signing, by the way, not just a yes. They have to sign, so that if later they complain, you tell them, you have already approved this. Doesn't mean that they will pass you, but at least they agree and they support your proposal. So it is for you as a student, it's not for us. Third one, you have to have a set of topics defined for you. I didn't like, as I told you when I came here, there were questions all over the place. So I said you have to define for the student a set of topics that the exam will be around them. So you can tell them, I don't know, for me, for example, numerical methods, fluid mechanics, I don't maybe transport phenomena, someone in petroleum telling you completely code, this code, this code. But the scope of the exam should be more or less limited. Cannot be anything in petroleum or anything. Yes?
Who's going to define these limitations? Is that going to be like the supervisory committee or?
No, by the way, your supervisor should take the lead almost in everything. That's one other thing. Sometimes they have students who are setting up their exams. The supervisor should take it. For sure, it's not you. So you can talk to your supervisor. Like, for example, I talk with my student and this, given the nature of your research, this is what I think, it's between you and your supervisor. And the supervisor committee can have input, but ultimately it's you and your supervisor. Does it answer or not?
I think so. So what you mean is the supervisor is going to possibly contact the supervisory committee members and the examination committee members. Okay, these are the topics.
No, the examining committee has no say on it. Actually, the examining committee, the rest of the exam, because your examining committee is the supervisory committee plus one other professor plus an external. Okay? The plus number and the external, they have no say. You tell them these are. They are not going to decide. The ones that decide, as I tell you, is your supervisor. Your supervisor can consult with the supervisory committee, but it is your supervisor. Because at the end of the day, he or she is the person who knows the material, and you are the person who knows the material. The supervisory committee can have its input, but the rest they don't decide. So that has to be defined. Also, it is stated in the calendar. Maybe this might seem obvious, but it's important that you know I won't say your rights, you know what is expected from you. The exam, it is stated explicitly. I think we introduced it last year. The exam is not about your proposal. It means they are not there to say, oh, what you are doing is original or not. That's not the issue. The issue is, do you have the skills and the knowledge to carry what you propose? So for example, if you are proposing to do some research and do some experiments, the committee, the examination has no right, and it's explicit, has no right to tell you, oh, this is garbage, or this is, no new, or they don't have. They are not supposed to, even if actually the work is, say, obvious or not original. That's not the objective of the exam. The objective of the exam to test your knowledge and capacity to carry what you propose as research. Let's assume I talk about my field. You are going to do numerical simulation. Okay, show me what you know about numerical simulation, about conversion, about accuracy, about it, for example. I don't care about the topic itself necessarily. I want to see whether you have skills in that. That's also a very important point that you need to know as someone who's taking the apprentice exam. Okay? So, I'm mentioning, of course, you can set your exam only once you have finished all your courses, because once you are done with your apprentice exam, you are not supposed to take any more courses. So everything should be done, and the grades should be possible. Yes, actually.
But is it okay just to ask professor, let's say, just to attend the course?
Oh yes, Okay, when I say you should, I didn't say you can. There is a, the words are very, very precise. I'll tell you. What it means, you can say no. If you're, well, I don't know the relationship between you or your supervisor, but regulation, FGS says, once you have taken your apprentice exam, you are supposed to be done with your courses. So if we say, I'm done, I don't want to take courses, it's your right. Now if you want, your supervisor says, yes, you want, these are going to be extra. They are not supposed to be part of your degree, because you cannot take your apprentice exam until you have finished everything that you need. But if you later you want to take, for example, you want to take French or Spanish, that's a difference, okay? And actually the fees will be more, but anyway, that's a difference. So, okay, so as I said, once you complete, you can have your exam. For the exam results, I think most of you have started after 2008, maybe some no, I don't know. Okay, or at least those who are taking the exam. The rules have changed. Actually, when you have the form to sign for this exam, there is a part where you have to check. I have to be, examined based on the archived handbook or on the new handbook. Most of the time, none of them is checked. It's left there. Student size, supervisor size, but which one? There are actually different rules. They have changed. In terms of this exam, you can read about them and then I'm afraid I may take long, but I think it's important. The main difference for the cancer exam is the new rule, which applies to anyone who has been admitted after 2008. So if you are after 2008, there is no choice. If you are pre-2008, you can choose between the new and the old system. So in the new system, for the cancer exam, the main difference is that if one examiner votes fail, you still pass. In the old system, it's enough that one examiner fails you, you will fail the exam. In the new system, one fail, so it means that probably you know which one to choose. Okay? So that's one of the major differences, but there are also the differences in terms of the thesis. Okay, I think it's this. More information, by the way, I have prepared a sheet that I have posted. I don't know how many of you visit the web page regularly, but really the information, most of it is there. I know you are busy, actually the professors are even busier, they never show up. Read. But the information is there. So I have prepared pages for, if you want to set your cancer exam, the master or the PhD, what you need to do. Actually, the supervisor should know it, but I know sometimes the supervisor asks the student to do it. So this is, unfortunately, the font is small because I wanted to have everything there. But for example, this is for cancer exam. It tells you what are the requirements. If you want to know what are the difference between 2008 and 2008, it gives you the link, all the information. Okay, so I suggest, if you have questions, go to the web page. On the web page, it's under a section, I think, setting up exams. Very, very obvious. Okay, scholarship. I think that's the one that most of you are here for. And I want from, because in last presentation, last time I talked about that because they had specific questions about that. I have to be clear first that I don't decide anything about the scholarship. So people may think Dr. Azaiez is distributing them. I don't. Actually, I don't even write them. To avoid any conflict of interest, people may think, oh, even though I don't have any students, or if I distribute to my students, oh, there will be that. But anyway, I don't do that, and I don't think any of that. At least that's how I pursue it. So we have, actually the department has a graduate studies committee, which is also the scholarship committee. It has 4 members and chaired by the graduate coordinator, which is in this case myself. One is representing petroleum, it's Dr. Meni. One is representing biomedical, it's Dr. Sen, currently. One is representing chemical, which is Dr. Hill. And one is representing environmental and energy environment, is Dr. Main Hussain, which is Dr. Ali. Okay. So we have all 4 specializations represented, and these members have been elected. Yes, Daksha.
There is no way like student can elect, let's say, the member of this committee. We're not involved, or this is basically by.
Well, I mean, you are saying that the students and the department elects, or the students elect? Or?
Yeah, can we give input to, let's say,
oh,
the
input,
department?
yes. No, input, it is fine. No, input, by all means, please. No, by all means. But what I'm saying, because I remember one of the questions last time was, oh, the committee doesn't have any petroleum, and we petroleum are disadvantaged. It's not true. We have always had a petroleum, at least one petroleum. So what I want to stress here is that don't let rumors, look at the reality, look at the facts, and then if there is, by all means, sincerely, there is something you feel is unfair, come and talk to me, and if you are, well, not really, maybe embarrassed, or you don't feel like, talk to Action and let him talk. Because I think, and I believe, it is done in a fair way. Again, it's not perfect. I have been on committees at Alberta Engineering, etc. Believe me, there is no way a consensus. We had people from UBC, University of Saskatchewan, University of A. We sit all professors and we'll be fighting. When he says this is first, then no way he is first. So there is a part of subjectivity that you cannot escape. It's not exact science. If it were exact science, oh God, we just post the scores and we are done. But this committee, and the committee, by the way, that comes with regulations which are brought up to the department, and then the department votes on them. It's not me who brings them or votes on them, okay? So it's the committee, and it is the committee also that votes on this, basically ranks the scholarship. After they rank the scholarship, we meet, I don't rank, as I said, they rank, we meet together, and then, of course, we look at the different ranking, we take average, we discuss case by case, we distribute the scholarship. So I went right away to the department. Of course, let me say one brief word about the open doctoral. The open doctoral, unfortunately, we depend on the quota that FGS gives us. it tells us every year how many we can nominate. For example, this year, I mean this past January, we had 2 for the general and 2 for chemical. If you have 40 applicants, basically you have to choose out of them 4. You have 10%, and still, these are nominees, not winners. So we send these names, and then they enter the pool to compete with the rest of the university, and some of them will win. So if you are disappointed by the open doctorate, we try to send the best. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes you are not. So that one is actually out of our hands. The external, I put them there because honestly, I think if you are eligible, you should not. And that's one of the things that people not complain. When I hear it, when I go to FGS, they say, you guys in engineering, and particularly chemical and petroleum, you don't apply to really high competitive scholarship. I know you are not eligible to all of them. For example, NSHL, you have to be PR. But the rest, I think whenever you are eligible, you should. Because we give the impression that we are rich, we don't need. You know, the venue is 50,000. It shows competitive. But in the past years, many years, this department didn't send one single application. It's 50,000. It's not like it's little money. We are talking, but there is kind of, we have to be also going competing, not just about what we have inside, which is guaranteed for us. I think you as students will have to go and compete with the more very highly competitive because it reflects well, and this happens. So let me skip these 2 and go back to the department. Scholarship committee does the ranking. I have kept it for the moment as it is. Every professor has his or her ranking the way they want. I'll tell you why. And then I won't name who are. For example, I know one of the committee, when we meet, that person puts a lot of weight, actually, a lot of weight on publication. If I have all of 4 of them put a lot of weight on publication, then you are going to have a bias in one direction. While I have, without naming, we have another one who puts more about basically the GPA and background. So we have, in a certain way, a variety of opinions, but they are consistent because when they rank, we put the numbers: publications, GPA, number of awards, reference letter, research proposal. We have columns, and they give grades, and then at the end. Some of them may give, let's say, 50% to the publication, systematic, that's the way better. And some don't. But at the end of the day, when we meet, we discuss case by case, okay? And we go over, of course, the process. Now, the new rule that all of you are aware of, it's there. Okay, so I don't want to, should I go over it? Okay. So, the new rule that we started this year, and I've sent an email about this to all of you, I actually brought up the idea because, again, I didn't make the rule. Honestly, I brought up the idea. It was discussed by the scholarship committee. There were changes brought to the department voted for. Why I did? I made a cap on the number of years because in the past, and I agree, people were complaining the same students are getting the same money. Because actually they say students from the same professor, which I don't know who is the professor, but I would like to know. But again, instead, if you are senior and you are good, the more senior, the better you get, the higher the publication. So you'll be getting that scholarship again and again and again. And I don't think that's really very healthy. You want to have competition. You have to give chances to the new ones. And that's why we set a rule about how old you are in the program for you to be eligible for it. So for master, January before the competition is sometime in May or whatever, but January before competition, you shouldn't have exceeded 24 months students. Makes sense, because your scholarship is starting in September. So if you are already 2 years in January, you will be 2 years and 9 months in September. I mean, come on, we expect for 2 years and a half to be done, so it makes sense. Same thing for PhD, 4 years, beyond 4 years, in January, you should think about graduating and go looking for other scholarships that are more competitive. That's one. The second one is about the amount, which was thinking, and that was like trying to spread the money so that you don't have people getting 20, 30, whatnot. That one is questionable. I mean, I'm open for discussion, for input from you. Actually, I'm open for everything. But I give you the background why we made that of this new regulation. If you feel it's not really helpful, actually, I think this year it worked well because not all of the applicants, but a good percent got scholarship. Now about the scholarship, and really I don't want to influence you, but I show you, this is, I showed it last time, a schedule. But of course I removed the names and it didn't show all the information so that you don't guess who is it. Yes, but we have column of GPA, column of, of course, for master, for bachelor, for journal papers, for proceedings, for class reference. Actually, it's an Excel sheet, which is longer, but I show you. And you can see really sometimes you have a big gap. You know, this was from Open Scholarship of last year. You know, you have some people who have 12 publications. Yes. I understand that all of you think, okay, but really the competition is sometimes tough. And these are numbers that gives you, the range of I'm not saying this is difficult, but it does happen. In situation where, for example, GPA is high, publications are very high, then that person is going to get a scholarship. It's simple logic. Okay. Now, we still, and I insist on that, we take into account multiple authors. So if you have 4 or 5 authors versus 1 or 2, we take that into account. It's a really lot of work, by the way, but we do take that into account. We, when you guys apply, so
How does that going to be?
in percent. In percent. We give weight for the pay.
Is that going to be like, again, personal? I mean, I'm one of the fees. I'm going to give 5% to the number of authors. I mean, that is not going to be important for you. And then you're going to say, it is very important for you. Is that just a matter of determination of me or you, or is it going to be something that is like terms of reference? I mean,
No, it's not. No, it's that it's taken into account is. But how much you put weight is like the same. How much you put weight for papers versus, let's say, award. It varies from professor to another, but it's taken into account. So it's not some professor may give it maybe four authors versus 2 authors. They give the 4 authors maybe 50%. The weight of 2 authors versus someone who gives maybe 70%. It varies. We don't have really exact, because as I said, it's not an exact science. And also, even when you go into there is a lot of details. Whether the authors are already the same or not, what's their contribution, was it the professor and the co-supervisor, or was it someone from outside? It gets into really, but people, the committee have their consistent way of taking that into account. What I was trying to say is that we take that into account. It's not like something you publish 10 and you're publishing this to 10 person versus you're publishing yourself or someone, that weight is that's my main point. Of course, I accepted, submitted, etc. We look at that, but to be honest, it's not really, doesn't really enter into the because but it is fine. U of C university presentation, I think you should include them. Very importantly, in fact, when I sent that email to include number of papers. Now, when it comes, not all, but even this year, this last round, we had application that really surprising. People don't read, and this is, this will apply very much if you like one shop or you don't follow the rules. Not out, even if you are super smart. Really, that's as simple as that. Okay. So this year we have people who have, even though I told you, remember when I sent that email, you have to be specific listing the award that you want to be, entering the competition. Because in the past it used to be all. Whatever, give me whatever I can get. I don't think that's the attitude you have. That's what you want, depending on which one you're in. And you have list of people writing UTI and open scholarship, or this is internal scholarship. That has nothing to do with that. So showing that person hasn't even read, doesn't know what that person is applying. And I tell you, this is not imagination case. We had CVs that are very poorly written, not following the format, not indicating the pages, not proper reference. This was typical this year. When you apply and you ask the supervisor to write for your reference letter, make sure that they use the U of C standard reference form. Not actually, I would say this year there were at least 5 cases where it was not that. It's you. It's your responsibility. You are asking the professor to write the reference letter. Make sure the professor has the form, because when people approach me, they give you the form with the signature, that they accept. I think some of you at least know this. But some of you don't know that. You understand what I'm saying? It's yes or no? No, I can clarify, but it is your, this year, even though some members of the committee, they felt that we should disqualify, but we ended up saying yes. But I tell you, when it comes to competition, If you don't follow the rule, you are putting yourself in a situation where you will lose. So on your side, you have to make sure that you follow the rules. Okay? Any question? I don't know. I think yeah. I think any question about scholarship? Yes.
One point regarding the scholarships, for example, for the publication, for example, some students have experimental work that which make time to prepare setup, run experiment, analyze, and publish. So it may take maybe 3 or 4 years to publish a publication for applying for the scholarship. But I think this should be considered for the publication as well.